really was, at that moment, the best thing that had ever happened. Not only the fact that we were in the White House and there was the president over there, but I was in a group of highly selected professionals.
It was an honor to be chosen among so many wonderful colleagues to represent all of us.
Suddenly there's recognition from the White House and from the Clintons, who I thought the world of.
To see your work in the White House and to see it in magazines and newspapers was a big step forward.
Eye-opening experience. It was a surprise to me that it has become such a major event and has really helped people take my work more seriously.
If I knew them is so important, I would donate my truckload of my work.
Well, when we arrived to live in the White House, we quickly understood that we had to work to make it a home, but it was also an office and a museum. We were anxious to make sure that the house was really accessible and that it told not only a historic story about American art and furnishings and the like, but a modern story. And it just so happened that 1993 was the year of the American craft.
The White House craft collection really began with a presidential proclamation and a congressional resolution in 1992, when it was decided that the following year, 93, would be the year of American craft. And so they conceived, by working with Michael Monroe, that they would put together a craft collection, and it would be shown in the White House.
I thought it was just going to be an exhibit, and it ended up being a much bigger deal.
It's hard to explain how one feels when they walk into the White House with its reputation, its history. You're actually in the building.
You really did make the White House into the people's house. For the craft artists featured there, it was a game changer. It really put them in a status that they had not had before. It made their work visible in a setting that could not have been more exciting for them. Did you have any particular favorites that stand out for you?
I had a lot of favorites, but some that stood out. The wonderful bowl that Dale Chihuly did.
Oh, yes.
I also loved the menorah that Zachary Oxman made. It was just astonishing. There was a picture with a bird on top that David Levy did. I mean, there was just so much variety because, as you say, it was all 5 mediums that we consider the stuff of which crafts are made.
The wood is an integral part of what I make, and the piece in the exhibition, it's the contrast of the woods that's an important part of the round shape and the pierced pieces that give it a lot of interest.
I do porcelain, strictly porcelain, because I like, just like clear canvas is white. Then I can apply different colors. In Chinese culture, peach means longevity. I say, okay, I don't need the peach. So our country and the White House gonna live forever. Hey, also peach is very delicious.
Glass is an alchemic blend of sand and metallic oxides combined with extraordinary blinding heat. The result is a material that flows and drips like honey. Every time I start a piece, it's a challenge because I have an idea as an artist of what I'd like to do, and the glass has a completely different idea. All it wants to do is drip on the floor or maybe burn you.
How much time do you have to get a person interested in your work? All you need is 1/1000th of a second. That's all the time they're going to give you. And in that time, you have to convince them to stay and examine and put more into the piece. But that's what these pieces will do.
You see, there's a sort of theatrical focus onto the inside. There's lighting above, and there are all sorts of miniature things which you can actually allow people to reinterpret what it is.
And so I had an idea for a centerpiece that would work in the White House, and I only had, 2 months to make it and get it there? I designed it to go with the dome of the Capitol, to be a reverse dome, and I designed the legs to be 3 legs, 3 levels of government.
You really emerged as a huge champion of the arts and started other programs as well. Can you talk a little about how that came to be so important for you?
It really is such a part of my life and what I value. But I also believe that the arts are critical to any society. They're not a luxury, they're a necessity. People should have the opportunity to learn about the arts, to practice them if they are interested, and to appreciate the role that they play in our country.
Back in 1993, it was exciting. It was an exciting time because the government, the White House, had gotten involved in saying craft is important. But to get that kind of affirmation and recognition was a big deal.
These were extraordinary artists, and giving them that visibility through the Year of the Craft and then through the craft collection at the White House, I think individually was beneficial to them, but even more importantly, collectively it sent a message that we have these amazing artists who are working in communities across America, and we want you to know about them. And that's the idea behind what we did in the 90s, and now for the 25th anniversary, what we're doing at the library.
Is it craft or is it art? Art meaning it's more somehow better.
I actually call my work sculpture because I feel like it is. I feel like it's got some context to it. It's got a lot of form and design. If people want to call it craft, it doesn't bother me.
I think the lines between, what was always referred to as craft and what is, was always referred to as fine art have gotten blurred and blurred and blurred over the years. And I think that's really good, and I don't really care about labels. I never have, or categorization. So it doesn't bother me what anybody calls it. It's not going to change what I make.
A lot of people do not consider me an artist or a sculptor, but yet I think of it as very high art.
I don't particularly know what it's going to be. It might be top of a column, but I just make things. I can say it's not pure art, but it's my art.
We don't want these to be lost arts,
Nope.
and I don't think we have to fear that any longer, but the Clinton Library is basically introducing these crafts to a new generation and reminding people that, Paul Revere was a silversmith.
Right, exactly.
So this goes way back in our history, and we want it to continue far into our future. And we want it to be as inclusive as our big, dynamic country is. We really are telling a story, and the arts tell a story just as our history and our economy and all the other aspects of society tell a story. I'm thrilled that we were able to play a small part in elevating this particular aspect of the arts so that more people understand why it's important and maybe give it a try.
I think that the White House Craft Collection is a really good example of what was going on at that time.
So this show will be, once again, a chance for them to look at the work. And you can't do that without looking at the people who produce the work and reevaluating who they are and what are you doing and why are you doing it.
I think part of being an artist is to try to find your comfort zone and then stay out of it.
I try to work very hard to live up to the White House permanent collection, and I'm very honored. So I'm still working very hard to live up to it.